Whether you're into the lost media subculture or not, there's a general fascination and interest in uncovering new discoveries that have eluded the public's eye for any number of years, and in fact, this sort of interest is really thriving within the video game community. For as many smaller interests like Yaya Beavis, there are huge, seemingly unobtainable beta grails, including the likes of Luigi's Mansion, Earthbound 64, and of course, Pokemon. In fact, just recently, a manga was created about the real-world development of Red and Green, and contained within some of the panels were actual never-before-seen sprites from unused Pokemon that were planned to be in the first generation of games. This was insanely cool to see, and gave us a little taste of the deep Pokemon lore that exists at Game Freak. For more than 20 years, one of the most coveted Pokemon mysteries and game betas had been unplayable and lost, only existing in a very small selection of images and videos. But now, we can explore the Johto region in a way we never have been able to before. The year was 1997 and the event was Space World, a Japanese Nintendo game convention. It largely focused on showcasing Nintendo 64 and Game Boy titles, one of the most notable being Pokemon Gold and Silver versions. Not only was the presence of these titles felt at the convention, but most notably these games were playable in the form of a short demo. A handful of images and a short video found their way online, where we could not only see the actual differences of some of the Pokemon we now know so well, but also the sheer magnitude of the game's popularity was felt. For a long time though, this small collection of visuals were the only content to have surfaced from this event, so while we could see literal differences from the game we know today, there was just no way to actually get into the demo and check it out further. Well, needless to say, that day has finally come. On May 31st, 2018, the complete ROM of the Pokemon Gold and Silver Space World 97 tech demo surfaced on 4chan, and immediately people started investigating the demo's contents. The cutting room floor is a great resource that archived all of the ROM's contents, but if there's one thing that is by far the most important out of this entire demo, it's the Pokemon. As far back as those original screenshots from 20 years ago, we could without a doubt see the Pokemon differences that this demo contained, but little did we know how deep they went. These demos feature almost an entirely different Johto Pokédex than what we ended up getting, with some notable additions being scrapped evolutions of Gen 1 Pokemon, vastly different designs for the starters, and some straight up cut Pokemon that don't exist at all in today's games. It's just an incredible piece of history that I'm really glad was saved after all these years. But how exactly was this ROM saved for over 20 years, and how did it find its way online? Well, according to the Lost Media Wiki, this demo cartridge was in the hands of a collector who recently passed away. His family was selling off his collection when a shop owner realized what they had, and proceeded to get the ROM online. While no one knows how the collector was able to get the demo cart to begin with, a tweet from the owner of Cerebi.net suggests that the cart was stolen or supposed to be destroyed due to the mention of legal ramifications which would result in stolen property like an internal demo cart. While I remain skeptical that the collector passing away story is totally factual and that the game shop owner was the one who got the ROM online to begin with, there are two very important ideas here that we should all consider within the realm of lost media. The first is the fact that this demo still existed, was legit found, and finally made publicly available after 20 years. Long before the ROM was dumped, people had actually requested I make a video covering this mystery, but I never did because I only saw the topic as a long-lost pipe dream of a mystery that would literally never resurface. The mystery of this demo is much different than most things I cover on my channel, but after seeing that yes, lost media can literally be found anywhere, and resurface 20 years later, it's changed my perspective on what we actually can find. If you believe the story about the collector and shop owner, then it's pretty clear no amount of scouring the internet from my kind of perspective would have yielded results. But just remember that all it takes is one person to get anything found. The second point to consider with this discovery is the sheer magnitude of how important this find is to the Pokemon and video game history. Pokemon is one of the biggest video game franchises ever, and the world that Game Freak has created for us is beloved and timeless for all of its players. But from a historical standpoint, it's just as important to keep and document all of the cut content from the game so we can establish a connection between the mind of the developers and what we're so familiar with in today's world. Knowing what we do now, could you imagine never realizing that many Gen 1 Pokemon were going to have pre-evolutions in Gen 2? Or that the beasts actually looked more like dogs? Or that many of the cut Pokemon were literally only created and existed for this brief moment in time? We'd be losing so much valuable development elements to the Pokemon universe by not having this demo in our hands, and if there's one thing I'm really thankful for in all of this, is that the shop owner actually had enough courtesy to rip the cart and not keep it for himself, or try to sell it off for unthinkable amounts of money, which is something he very easily could have done, considering the family apparently had no idea what it was. The more time I invest in lost media, the more I develop a preservationist mindset, and felt the importance of documenting the past when it comes to my genre interests. The fact that we can just take a look at all of the weird Pokemon of the past honestly feels like we're stepping into an alternate timeline, and it reignited my hope that more huge game discoveries can come forward in the coming years. And for once, we can say that the mystery of the Gold and Silver tech demos remains a mystery no longer.